Transformations. I am super excited. As you know, I'm excited all the time, right? I'm excited about vegan, but I have a really special guest here with me. I have, and I'm going to say this right. Watch this. Michelle Dupuis.
That's correct.
Did I do it right?
You did, yeah.
All right, nice. And you're coming all the way from, let's see, Canada, right? No. Oh, I think you froze up. Is everybody frozen or just me?
I think it said it was on my side too.
It's on Michelle's side.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought I was in the Matrix for a second. I'm like, uh-oh, the world froze except me. So welcome. Michelle has been on a amazing journey, and she's coming to us here from, and I always forget exactly where you guys are located.
We're located in Logan Lake, British Columbia, Canada.
British Columbia, Canada. I was right. See, and then I started thinking, wait. And our co-host is here.
What's going on?
Don.
Hello, Don.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Time. We had just got started, so you are right on time. Welcome, everyone. I want to welcome Muriel, welcome Jacqueline, welcome Tessa. Hey, and Diana Varner, plant-based, and Tessa said, "Go Raptors." I think you guys probably know.
Basketball.
Hot Flash. Sorry.
Oh yeah, me too.
Aren't they lovely?
It's hot flash time. And Marikita, welcome, Vegan Empowerment Coaching. We have so many wonderful people here. Thank you for joining. And I have Michelle, my guest here, who's had an amazing health and journey. And Michelle and her mom, Muriel, who Muriel is being shy. She won't come on camera with they are both on my Veganology Facebook group, our community there, and she does an amazing job of commenting and helping people with recipes and especially raw recipes. And she is just so kind to share all her knowledge and her journey with us, which is where I got the before and after that you see on the thumbnail. So welcome, Michelle. Thank you for being here. Thank you both. Mother and daughter there. Look, are they beautiful?
My God. I did.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good.
Awesome.
I'll let you guys go at it.
I had to talk Michelle into coming on. She was also being shy, but she was the one that wanted. She said, you know what, if I'm going to help people with my journey, then I want to do it. So welcome and thank you so much for joining us.
No problem.
So have you been vegan forever, I guess? Is this something you started as a child, or is that something you developed later on, like an interest in plant-based food?
It was later on. So in 2016, my Auntie Jeanette that's listening in, Jacqueline, sorry, my Auntie Jacqueline, and then my mom and I. So Jacqueline went a day before we did, and then the next day my mom and I went vegan as well. So
oh, nice.
Wow. How long ago? It was a family affair.
2016, yeah. And then my both my girls are also vegan, and my grandson.
Oh, nice. All right. Keep it in the family. I can't get my family to go vegan, but we're still working on them.
Yeah.
We'll get them.
Yeah, so I went actually in 2019, so kind of within the same range there. So we're getting to be one of those senior vegans, isn't that what you call it? Like we've been for a while now, more than 5 years, right? So you went vegan, and did you go at that point just like plant-based, whole food plant-based, or how did that?
Yeah, we started off whole food plant-based. Well, before that, like in 2000. I want to say 2013, I had an attack on my, I guess it was like in my spine or whatever. And I lost mobility in both my hands. And I had like, it was frozen from like basically mid chest down to just below my, I was going to say my ears. Oh, my ears, my knees.
Right. Okay.
And so we started juicing. And I think juicing was like, kind of like, the starting point for us. We didn't go vegan right away, but then by juicing and kind of following that kind of stuff, we started to see more things on a whole food plant-based diet. And so then we just decided let's try this out. And yeah, it was great, actually. My mom's was probably the most surprising, because within like 3 to 5 days, she went from screaming, like scaring the living crap out of me, because her foot was so sore from her arthritis that she would just like barely tap it or whatever, and she'd scream and I'd scream. And then within 5 days of 3 to 5 days, she didn't complain about it. She never like nothing. There was no more pain. And I said to her, I went, Mom, and she's like, what? And I'm like, do you realize you haven't complained about your foot or even talked about it in like I want to say 3 days? And she was like, oh my gosh, it doesn't hurt.
It's almost like when you have something that you're in pain for so long, it's almost like you want to keep checking it to make sure. Like I had back pain for so many years before and within like 30 days it was like, and I kept going like this and twisting, like, wait, is it really gone or is this a fluke? And as it went on, now it's been over, almost 5 years. Of course, that is amazing. I know Miss Mary comes on and talks about her tower gardens and things. She healed her arthritis. So if you're out there and you're in pain, definitely plant-based is the way to go. So what was that like for you? Did that help what was going on with you that your
right away I was started to get off certain medications right away, started to lose weight right away. Just in general, I was feeling better, right? It's difficult when you first go, because everyone is like, so what do you eat? Where do you get your protein? Where, everybody's so worried and concerned that you're going to die because you're not eating any meat, right?
Right.
Don't need it.
Don't need it. We're still alive. We're alive without meat.
8 years and I'm still here, so I'm doing something right.
That's like the protein myth, right? And we're not getting enough protein. No one's ever protein deficient. Is that what they say?
Yeah.
I've heard that.
In fact, it can be too much protein can be detrimental to your health. So,
Yes.
And the amount of protein we need
contributes to Alzheimer's.
Yeah. And the amount that we need is way less than what we were thought to believe, I guess, right? So
yes, a lot of the dietary guidelines, I find the longer I've been doing this, is like just kind of geared towards things that aren't necessarily what we really need. They're just guidelines that were set up, Well,
and a lot of it was paid for, sponsored, right?
Yes.
So you got the dairy and the meat industry, getting their 2 cents in there so that they, everybody continues to buy, and we all think we need it. So we're lucky. In 2017 or 18, they changed the food guide in Canada. So it's half of it is like your fruits and vegetables, and then part of it is your protein, and the other quarter is grain. What is it? Grains in that? Yeah. So
here, I think they did around the same time. It must have been around the same time when they do all the guidelines, I guess, because they changed it from meat to protein. Like they just changed the verbiage. But still the same amount, I think, on ours. But that was a big win. Now, I think I feel like at some point, I hope they change dairy. I think that's still on there, though. Hello, Miss Mary. I was just talking about you because I don't know if you were listening in, but Muriel, Michelle's mom, after about 3 to 5 days, you said, had realized her arthritis pain was going away. And I was just talking about your amazing journey with that. Thank you for joining. Thank you, everyone, for being here. So that is the question. At that point, what were you eating? Because I know you've in your bio that we have in there, you've talked about a couple of different, like me, I've been through different versions of this diet. Would you start out as raw vegan, or you started with whole food plant-based?
We started whole foods, and then started eating some, like Beyond Meats and stuff like that.
There we go.
And burgers are damn good.
They are.
Yeah, my aunt would disagree because she doesn't even like I don't even think she likes the smell of it when it's cooking because to her it smells like meat, and she's like, nope.
Yeah, it's like you have two different schools of thought. I think a lot of people who are, like sometimes it does, but a lot of times it's just those comfort foods you want. And I think a lot
Yeah.
of vegans, it's like we didn't give up meat for the taste a lot of times,
Yeah. Some do though. Some
Yeah.
do, but yeah, I think most people, and it's a good way to transition. Like if you
Yeah.
can't go, whole food right away because it's, it tastes so different, especially if you go whole food, no salt, no sugar, no oil, right? Like your food tastes different. So,
Right.
when you're first transitioning, like to me, eat the junk food and slowly add in the better stuff and until you're like fully transitioned over. So
Yeah, because there's different ways that people have to do it. Some people like jumping all in, some people like have to slowly transition, but either way, as long as you get there, you'll start to feel better, definitely.
Yeah.
So and then at that time, so that was 2016, and so when you were doing it, did you find it was difficult, like for you both to like socially do it? Were you in the house with other people eating regular food?
well, we were actually really lucky. So my daughter lived with us at the time, and all three of us just went all at the same time. So
Oh, that makes it
yeah,
nice.
much easier to do it that way than have somebody who's still eating a standard American diet. So
Definitely. And so at this time,
Absolutely.
you said that you had, and were you still experiencing a lot of health issues or?
it started to get better. So I was probably on, I want to say like 17 to 18 different meds. And I got off pretty much all of them. Stopped taking my thyroid pill, which probably wasn't such a great idea.
Yeah.
But I'm determined to get off that damn thing eventually.
Right. Oh, well, and that's what I always tell people, make sure your doctor is monitoring the medications because we all want to get off of them, but they also have to be, I guess, the same as some people have to transition their diet. You have to
Yeah.
slowly get off of them.
And for me, like I want to say I lost 72 pounds right away, but then I started to eat the junk vegan food because it's easier, you go for dinner and then you're out of town and, people are like, well, I don't know what to cook you. And then, so we just buy junk vegan food and then you eat that for a week and it's really hard to go back to eating whole foods again. Right. So sometimes I would kind of stay that way and then I'd be like, okay, time to clean up again. So I'd clean up again. And
I'm
then I'd
struggling with ordering an Impossible Burger right now as we speak.
Yeah. It's hard, isn't it?
I really am. Yeah.
Yeah. So and then once I think it was it a year ago, Mom, that a year ago, her and I started dabbling a little more into, I know, in 2020, I took a course, The Gift of Health, which is, they're Canadian doctors. They're from India originally. I think they lived in the States for a while and they practiced there. And then they moved to Newfoundland and they started The Gift of Health because they started to feel better when I think they watched What the Health or something like that. And that just, forks over knives, something like that. Anyways, that was like enough for them to like actually switch over. And so they started their thing back east. And so I took their course. It was a 6 weeks course and it just kind of helped me to learn a little more about how to cook without using oils and that kind of stuff. And it was actually really good. And then, but I was still really depressed and angry, so even though I had changed my diet and everything, I was still really depressed and angry. So I lost a bit of weight, but then I kind of gained it back after I did that course and then it just kind of, COVID happened and like everything was just sort of very stressful. I had my daughter is now living with us now, but she was on the streets. She's using substances and stuff, and that was really, really hard.
Yeah.
So I was going through some huge anxiety, like couldn't sleep at nighttime because it would wake me up constantly, right? So it was really, really difficult. And then I found out that I had breast implants when in 2000, I think I had them put in, and I started to get really sick within about 6 months of having them, but I had no idea that it was probably because of the breast implants. And so I continued to get sick way back then. And then around the time that when I sort of did that course and everything, I started getting more information about breast implant illness. So then I was like, okay, I need to get these out of my body. So
Right.
yeah. And then there was, what's her name again? Ruth. Dr. Ruth, she was on Forks Over Knives. Anyway, she sent me her draft, basically, of breast implant illness, of a book that she's written and that. So, and then she also encouraged me to find a proper surgeon to get the implants out, because if they have to take them out whole, like kind of cut around your skin and everything and take the entire thing out. Because if they leave anything in, you can continue to be sick, right? So I was like, okay, I need to find a proper surgeon and all that. And right around the time that, actually I ended up in the hospital again, because I kept going to the hospitals, having chest pains all the time. And like, there was just all these.
Like a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
Right?
And even though I was eating a good diet and everything, I was still having some major like medical things that were happening to me. So my mom finally just went, I'm going to lend you the money and you're getting these implants taken out. So I found a really good specialist in the Vancouver area and had them removed. And at that, just before I had my implants removed, I started, in my spiritual journey and all this, I started to go a little spiritual in 2021. I joined a group and I was like, I need to find self-love, because I was so angry all the time. And I just really didn't like myself. I couldn't see my image without calling myself names. And I'm not going to say what I called myself, because you get kicked off YouTube. But it was not nice. And it was like every 15 minutes, I would say these really terrible things to myself about myself, right? Without, and I was like, enough, like I need to find some self-love. So then I did this, it's a group called Your Year of Miracles. And it's some people that are very spiritual. They run this group. And so I was like, I'm determined to find some self-love. So I started to get a little bit of self-love in 2021. In 2022, it hit me like a ton of bricks. And I got to tell you, it was the most amazing feeling ever. And after that, I was like, I need to really look into this. So I found a doctor named Dr. Joe Dispenza. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but he is like, he teaches you the science and the mystical things of things. And I started doing meditations and everything. Yeah. And then I was feeling so good that I could have probably not had my implants removed, because that's how well I was feeling when I was doing his meditations and that. But we decided to do it anyways, which is probably a good thing, because, you get off track and stop doing your meditations for a while, so
anyway, it's probably good to get that core reason out. And I think we forget sometimes how important it is for all of it, like Don was on here talking about. It's not just diet, sometimes everything, stress, it is everything.
Yeah, it's everything. And like when I had my surgery done, I went and got the surgery done, and when I was in pain, I would like ice the area and I'd go meditate. I never took one painkiller.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
I
mean, I was bruised from like here way down to my belly button from the surgery, right? And yeah, I couldn't, it had to be T-Rex arms.
Right.
Right.
Amazing.
Yeah, that was amazing. And so as soon as I realized that, it's not just the food is huge, right? But spiritually, you need to be talking nicely to yourself. You need to, do things like meditation and whatever is going to help you. Like I love doing Qigong. I love doing meditation, Tai Chi, tapping, like anything.
I love yoga and meditation as well. Yeah.
Welcome in, really quick, I just wanted to say thank you, Annette, for joining. And Diana said my family in my house still eats meat, and I think it looks gross, right? I'm sorry.
Red flesh.
Yeah, that would be difficult. I know how it is just on holidays for us. And Tessa said that was a lot of medication. Yes, definitely. Annette, hi, welcome in. And Marakita said she loves Joe. Mary Jones and Marakita both know Dr. Joe and love him. Dispenza.
Yeah, he's
Tessa said I've
amazing.
mastered the food, but I'm still working on the spiritual part. Tessa, me too. I did just start back working out at least, and I know that plays a part of it. Like, I don't know if you want to call that working out, what I did, but 20 minutes. I mean, that's
Hey, it is. It's a stepper.
You know
Hey,
what?
it's
Even if
working
you did-
out.
Yeah, even if you did 3 minutes, who
It's
cares?
something.
Exactly.
definitely.
I'm going to hit the little girl's room. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Sounds good. That's why we were late, because I had to quickly get rid of a little mess that Neo made and run to the ladies' room. So I'm sorry we were a little bit past 7. So, okay, so you're on this spiritual journey, and we'll have to revisit some of those. I know what some of them meant, but there was something you said like Chow Bong or something. I didn't know what is exactly is that?
Qigong. It's Chinese. Like it's kind of like Tai Chi, right? But it's a healing thing. So you do certain movements. They're quite slow, right? And you do these movements while you're kind of feeling yourself with like love or appreciation or joy or like these different emotions. And yeah, you're just like putting it out there spiritually and healing it from the inside out. It's quite amazing. I was doing that. I was so many things I was kind of doing at once, and it was like the best thing that I ever did for myself. I mean, so I got to get back on it because I kind of got off of it, but yeah, definitely like highly recommend people try, especially anything that's mindful, gonna get you grounded and that kind of go out in nature, go for walks, and it's all important. So
definitely. And I deal with a lot of like OCD, anxiety type things. And I think that's something that I really need to, because diet has helped, like you said, but there's still sometimes you need that extra thing. So that's my next, hopefully coming into this 2024, I'm going to make that my resolution to work on that type of thing. And Tessa's making fun of my Tao Bong. Okay. Yeah, I was like, wait, I knew I was getting that wrong, but I went with it anyway. Bong is something different. Oh, that so okay, that's really cool. So when you started that, did you find that also played a part in how you like were eating too? Like, did that help you make better choices when your mindset was?
Absolutely. It's because then you do stay on track, right? So it's just so much easier if you have that happening, and then you also are doing like, okay, so you're eating properly, you're doing your meditations and stuff, and you're just talking nicely to yourself. You know what I mean? Like that's the one thing that's been huge for me. Like yesterday, the day before, I was playing a game, and it's like one of those ones where you're trying to do things on a timed thing. And usually, you start to get frustrated. And this time I just cheered myself on. I thought, why not be my own cheerleader, right? And I was like, actually, that worked really well. So now I'm like, okay, I could be my own cheerleader.
We don't want other people yelling at us yet. Why do we, kind of put ourselves down? Because that's, it's easy to do if you kind of mess up, especially if you're someone new to this lifestyle and you think, oh, I ate the wrong thing or whatever. Just get back and continue and be patient, because you're doing more good than the other way. That's the thing.
And I used to beat myself up when I'd eat, like I'd go on a dirty vegan binge or whatever. And now I'm like, if I do that, like eat something that, maybe I shouldn't be eating or whatever, oh, well, enjoy it and start over. You know what I mean? Right. It's not because if I sit there and go, oh, I can't believe I did that, and I start beating myself up over it, right? It's going to put me back. Who knows how long, right? It could be a couple of days. It could be a couple of weeks that it'll put me back, depending on how badly I was talking to myself, right? So now I'm like, you know what? I did it. Oh, well, I enjoyed it.
Yes. And then
Carry on.
it probably makes it easier to get back, on the right thing because you're not thinking, well, I already messed up, so I'm going to keep doing things this way.
Exactly.
That makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense.
Yeah.
Congratulations on mastering that, because that is important,
Yeah.
to work on that. And I think too, sometimes like I'm like, I feel okay, but then when something happens, it's like just the same way with bad food. You can think you feel fine for a certain period of time, and then it all kind of will start to hit you. So it's the same with the mind. You have to kind of be consistent with that.
Well, and for me, like I can just, if I was to go out and just have like a Beyond Burger, for instance, right? My guts might be okay, but they might not be, right? And usually it's like, I think that I'm okay. I'm like, oh yeah, that's no problem. But then, I'm constipated after it, right? So then it's like, okay, this is not how things are when I'm eating, raw or just eating a whole food plant-based diet, right? Like that doesn't happen. So it does, like you realize, oh yeah, maybe it is actually not so great for me, right? So sometimes it doesn't affect me. I think it depends on how long I've been eating clean for. So if I've been eating clean long enough, then it won't affect me. But if I continue to eat that junk food, then yeah, it definitely will hit me. So sometimes I can get away with it for one meal, but it's not really worth going there anymore.
Exactly. I'm with you there. And what Muriel said, eating raw is also very spiritual. Yeah, I find that too. I have such gratitude. When did you start experimenting more with the raw foods, or was that always and you just kind of?
No. So raw food started about a year ago for me, just over a year ago, I guess. And it was more of like dabbling a little bit here and there in it. Like I would do it for a little bit and then I'd go back onto whole food and that. But I have to tell you, well, we did the green smoothie thing, Dr. Brooke Goldner, and we started her thing. And so I was eating mostly raw then. And man, I felt amazing. Like, amazing. I kept telling everyone I am superhuman. Like,
Right. I know it's a different vibration. I keep telling everyone, but it's hard to do it in the beginning. But if you can get on a routine, it's really nice.
Yeah. And like the green smoothies, I was doing that, and the meditation, like I was doing it all sort of together. So it was like, honestly, I really did feel superhuman. I went, I think it was the first time we had gone to the gym, and it was so funny. I got home and I was okay. And then about 6 o'clock in the evening, all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, I hurt so much. Right?
You're running on that adrenaline.
And then I did my qigong that night, and I was in this one position, and I'm like, I am dying. Oh my God. Climbing to bed. Same thing. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sore. I woke up the next morning and I was like, what? Like, no pain at all. And it never came back again. So I was like, all right, I'm doing some right stuff now.
The recovery time, and I hear a lot of athletes say that when they eat a lot of like raw foods, and things just don't stick around. Like you said, they don't linger.
No.
And I think it's because the foods have all those nutrients. Now, when you went raw, like I guess, can you take us through, like, what is one common thing that you guys might eat whole food plant-based, and then what's one of the meals you eat as raw, or just whole, like mono diets, or do you, like, because you did Naked November, right?
Yeah.
I did calling it Naked November. I love that. That's just
I
all
did.
raw, right?
It was, well, I had a couple of things that were cooked. But very, very little. Like I would say that I was probably about 95 to 97% I was raw, and then the other stuff was a little bit cooked. And it was like dumb things that I was eating, like plantation chips, right? But I didn't go overboard with them, but it was still like, I was craving that saltiness, and I'm like my mom. I like savory and salty at nighttime. Like, actually, I'm kind of a sweet and salty, like both combinations. So need something sweet, need something salty.
It's a good mix.
But when we whole food plant-based, probably the main meals that I would make were probably like tofu nuggets. I make my own, bread my own with almond flour and some nutritional yeast, some garlic powder, onion powder, a little bit. I do put a little bit of salt in it. But then sometimes I just soak my tofu, not soak it. Shouldn't say soak because you don't want to ever do that. I spray it with Bragg. And it gives it kind of a salty taste. And then I would bread it and then air fry it. And then we would have, I don't know, sometimes potato, French fries, homemade French fries. We wouldn't have any oil or anything. We just throw them in the deep fryer. Sometimes we put like vinegar and soy sauce or Bragg on them just to, so they had a little bit of something on them, and then eat those, have salad with that. And I mean, when I make myself a salad, it's not a little salad. I eat a humongous, like family-sized bowl salad to myself. So, and still, that's how I eat a salad. Like I love a big bowl of salad.
That was hilarious. I think that was a little meme. I talked about this on another live. It was like this thing on Facebook. It said how regular people eat a salad. And it was like that little bed of lettuce and cucumbers they give you in a restaurant. And then it was like how vegans eat a salad. It had all this stuff on it, like beans and like a bunch of lettuce. It was all piled up, and cucumbers and tomato, like every color in the rainbow in it, right?
Yeah.
And I know I met you guys also on Ed Logan's channel. When did you like, because it was about less than a year ago for me that I discovered that actually the importance of fruit.
Mom's discovered him about 3 months ago. Was it that
August 23rd is when I joined.
So August 23rd is when my mom joined his group. And then I think I joined shortly after that.
Because I see you guys definitely, we've all increased our fruit intake some. I met Minister of Wellness and Miss Mary, and that's when I started learning about that our body is, designed like we're fruit-based. And I was doing it completely opposite the first time I went raw, with lots of salad and a little bit of fruit, not realizing that's probably why I was never getting full. I was eating like a lot of empty like calories. So okay, so that was your whole food plant-based with the tofu that you were telling us, the fries. And then what is like a raw food that you would eat when you first started?
I smoothies. I love smoothies. Like, so I definitely do fruit smoothies. Sometimes I do mono eating. So a lot of times I start my day with a watermelon. So I usually, like, we have those little ones about this big, so I do half of that. If I'm really hungry, I might eat the other half. You usually gotta space it out a little bit because sometimes my stomach's like, ooh, it's a little too much. But yeah, and then I usually just do other fruits and then always a salad. Usually always a salad at nighttime, just because I really love my salad. So I probably would, if I don't know if I could go actual fruitarian, because I definitely like my salad. So.
And I think a lot of people don't realize that fruitarians, like, they don't just necessarily, some of them do, but most of them eat leaves and, like leaves. I sounded like we were outside, but that's what they always say.
That's okay, we're foraging.
Like that is in different things too, and nuts and seeds. And I didn't realize that when I used to hear fruitarian, I just thought, oh my gosh, like they just live on bananas only, and then I realized, okay, you can have other things. You can be fruit based technically.
And actually, there's a lot of like what we consider vegetables that are actually fruit. And those are definitely, those are always in my salad. So they're in there all the time.
The cucumbers and tomatoes are actually fruits.
Yeah, and I think peppers are as well.
Yeah, that's true. What was you mentioned a couple things, and if for those of us or those that might be new or not as experienced like me in cooking, that's why I always joke that I'm raw, because I can't cook. But like when you talked about Bragg, that's the aminos. Isn't that what's used to like make things taste sort of like I don't know, they make the like bacon and things that imitate that, or like, is it barbecue type?
I think it's the saltiness of it, right? So it's salty. If you wanted it to taste like bacon, you'd have to put like smoke.
Oh, that's what I'm thinking of, the liquid smoke.
Yeah, so this tastes like China Lily soy sauce.
Okay. Is it good?
Remember if you know what that one is?
It's natural kind of, right? Like not maybe all natural, but it's not like something that you'd be getting like you'd be eating regular salt, basically. It's kind of an alternative.
And that's a lot of times that's how I make my stuff salty. So like if I make a salad dressing, for instance, I usually would add that before I would add salt in it.
Good timing. Muriel said ask her for her Caesar dressings. Like, you guys need a recipe book.
Oh my gosh.
Some of the stuff they come up with, like the dressing. That's something I always struggled with too, was making good dressings. So what do you put
if you ever get a chance, look up Derek Simnett. He makes some really amazing dressings and what's the other word? Sauces, right? So some of them aren't going to be raw, but a lot of his, I mean, obviously his dressings are usually all raw, and he's got some amazing stuff there. So he's a nutritionalist, works out, but he's a whole food, plant-based, and uses a lot of protein powder in his stuff.
That's fine. Well, a lot of people do this. That's what I love about. We have such a huge, diverse audience that comes on here and hangs out with us too. We've got whole food, plant-based, and then raw vegans. I love it. So you're like covering all of them for us. I love it. You've kind of been through it like I have, raw and then whole food, junk food, whole food, raw.
Exactly.
So that is really cool. What is your favorite? What would you say your favorite fruit is?
My favorite fruit. Oh, I love mangoes. So probably mango.
No, they are really good.
Definitely a mango fan. I love pineapple too. I love bananas. But my bananas, I don't like them super ripe. I'm like more not the green, not on the green side, but just as they're ripening, and they're like yellow, and that's how I like my bananas.
Yeah, I like them like that too.
Yeah, when they're like a little too ripe for me, I just don't like the flavor. Great in smoothies, great, like I don't mind them if I was eating oatmeal, like I like them when they're ripe and oatmeal and that, but just to eat a banana, it's got to be not really ripe.
I think, and they always say like, oh, it's got better nutrients the more ripe the fruit is, but I think we're okay in that section as long as we're not eating them green, right? I think we're good, because sometimes they get a little bit mushy and stuff when they're good. I used to put them in this like a banana walnut smoothie when they almost went bad because I didn't like the texture to eat them so mushy. Avocados, I know that's one of my things. Like, what do you use when you're raw? Like, do you feel like you have to eat more, or do you eat a lot of like flax seeds and nuts, or how do you seem to stay full with that?
I usually eat fruit in the mornings and afternoons and that, and at supper time I like to do like I said, a salad, but then have like the avocado and have a nut. Like most of my dressings are like the nuts or seeds. So you got like a creamy dressing that goes on it, and that's usually enough to keep me full. If not, sometimes I might just eat a banana if I have to, or because otherwise if you have junk food in the house. My daughter is vegan, but she still eats a lot of junk food, right? So if you have it in the house, it's easy to go to that. So I try to go and grab something that I feel like is at least going to make me feel a little bit full. So hopefully I don't go to the junk food, which I've been pretty good about lately. So
well, you look like you've lost a lot of weight, so you're doing, and you look healthy and happy, so you're doing something right. You're eating more good than bad food then.
I think so. Yeah, for sure. And I like in August, I think the picture that you have of me is from August, or no, September, because it was my daughter's wedding. And I think I'm lower, like by 10 to 12 pounds lighter than when I was in that picture. So
Wow. And it sounds like what I love about you and your mom both is it's like you get excited about the creativity of food. Instead of thinking about what you can't eat, you're always sharing your, recipes and letting other people follow your journey. And I think that is inspiring too, because
and it helps you, right? So I have days where I'm like, I don't feel like doing, you know what I mean? I don't want to do anything, and I don't want to just eat an orange, or I just, you know what I mean?
right.
So I do have those days too, but yeah, it's definitely, sorry, my dog just came up on the stool.
What's his name?
My dog's name is Ellie.
Oh.
Yeah, what was I saying? Sorry.
You were talking about when you don't feel like eating a certain kind, like you don't feel like just eating an orange. Do you go
Yeah.
buy a bunch of different fruits?
Yeah, I think it's so if you have like a variety, I know that it's much easier if we have things that are already like chopped up in the fridge and that kind of stuff, because it just makes it way easier to just go in and grab a bowl of, some peppers or something like that and have those, rather than being, like, oh, there's nothing to eat, even though what the truth is you don't feel like chopping up vegetables, washing them, chopping them, and you know what I mean? So yeah, we try to get things so that some of it's done anyways, and then there's something that you can grab so you're not cheating.
Yeah, I think that's what also, like, a lot of people that might be watching that never have went plant-based, it's like you think that things are going to be so different, but once you get in the habit or in the routine, you guys find that, probably like me, I just know what I get from the store. It's what I eat. It becomes normal for you. So it's not going to be like those first couple of weeks all the time where you're like, okay, what am I going to make or what am I going to eat?
Yeah.
And Marakita was asking, are the little watermelons as good as the big ones? Like, I think they actually, in a lot of cases, I've found they taste better sometimes, but I don't know nutrient wise. I think they're probably the same. Oh, Muriel answered. She said small watermelons are great too.
Yeah. Yeah, I love the little ones, but I like the big ones too.
They're easier to handle, but they don't last as long around here, right? We get like a half each, and then it's gone sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. That's how. Well, I mean, that's how we usually eat our watermelons. We just cut them in half and then take the whole thing and just eat out of it.
Yeah, like, why dirty anything, right?
Exactly.
It's like nature gave us the holder already for it, right?
Yeah. Save the dishes. The only thing it does sometimes is it sprays, like when you're trying to scoop it out. I was at work the other day and I was eating. It's like, ooh, my desk has got little droplets all over the place.
What do like people at work think? Like, what do they say? Do they ask you a lot of questions, or have you like had to share a lot about why you're eating that way, or do they not care?
I probably just share because that's just how I am.
Right.
They probably don't even ask, and I probably just start talking. So, but I have two jobs. So my one job is I work with adults, mostly seniors, and they know that I eat this way. They tease me about it constantly, right? Like, especially when I was bringing green smoothies and that, they're like, "What are you drinking?" That looks disgusting. I'm like, well, it's really good. And then my work that I just that's here in the town that I live in, they had a Christmas party and made sure that I had raw vegan food.
Oh, so, that's sweet.
So yeah, it was really nice. Even when I volunteered on Friday, because we do a thing here called Cram the Cruiser, which is we just stuff our police vehicle with a bunch of gifts and toys and stuff for kids for the community. And so they made sure that for a snack, I had some raw vegetables to eat as well. So that was really nice.
Oh, how sweet was that? That is really cool. That's sounds like a nice organization or event. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I was gonna say something. Oh, so where are you now in your like, are you still high raw, or do you?
Yeah, I will eat some cooked things occasionally, but I think I want to stick to the raw because I feel way better since I started eating that way. Like, it just, I don't know. It's like spiritually, you connect in a way that you don't connect when you're just eating vegan or whole food plant-based, right? I don't know how to explain it. You have to experience it yourself, right? Like I like sometimes think, God, I wish all spiritual leaders that are not vegan would go raw just for 1 week, because they would see how crazy incredible it feels.
Yeah, it's hard to describe. And in the first couple of days, or even sometimes the first week, it doesn't give you the same effect because you might be detoxing a little bit from all the stuff you've been eating. But when you get to this point, like I think, what did I start last Monday? Has it been? Yeah, so it's been a little over a week. Like I just woke up today, like, man, I just feel so good. You know, you kind of get your groove, especially if you fluctuated where you don't know how much to eat, or you might not be eating enough, and then you might eat too much, like of the fatty stuff, like you might overdo it on the avocados. Then you like find that balance, and it feels, it's like a different, like spiritual, you're right, it's like a different spiritual experience. That is really cool, and it's cool that people were supporting you, and they understand it and are in on it, and I think that's really cool. Welcome, Dawn. Thank you.
Hey, I've been listening the whole time, so I did I placed the order for us, so if I may dip out and grab the door. So
at this point, I thought I could hear you chopping for some reason.
Yeah. Well, you did.
Oh, okay. I don't know how I heard that all the way in the maybe because you had your headset. But it said it was muted. That was weird.
I muted myself. That's weird.
We heard, maybe I was just getting hungry and hearing chopping.
No,
like,
we've got grapes on the way, so.
Nice.
I was like, grapes or a Whopper?
I know, I was wondering too.
Both.
Did you get any sushi?
I've been being
I'll take a sushi
raw. So good and raw, and I'm like, I'm treating myself tonight, and I'm gonna go back on it tomorrow. You got to every now and then. You know what I mean?
The self-love. I hope this isn't. Look, I hope we're not on here for a year from now, and Dawn's like, remember that night when I was talking to Michelle and I ordered that one Beyond Burger? Look what happened. Or what did you order? Impossible, right? Or did you go sushi?
I went Impossible. But do you want a sushi roll though? Before they close?
I mean, I'll always take a sushi roll.
Yeah.
If you're buying
no rice,
we make raw sushi with cauliflower. So you freeze the cauliflower, it softens it up, and then you can use that in place of your rice. It's a little different flavor, but it's actually not bad. Like,
that sounds like something worth trying.
Yeah, it definitely, like, if you're gonna dip it in soy sauce or whatever, just make sure you don't dip it all the way in, because it takes all the soy sauce flavor and the wasabi if you use that.
Wow.
That sounds good. You guys got the we wouldn't have to order anything. We need to move closer to you guys, right?
There you go.
Hey, I was just wondering what you're cooking over there. Look, the neighbors find an excuse to come over every night for some reason. I was wondering, are your lights working okay? Oh, okay. Yeah, our power's out. By the way, what are you cooking? Oh, I was gonna say too, like, what other changes have you noticed? I know the spiritual part of it. Have you noticed any other changes within you from being more on a high raw?
Yeah, so I asked my mom today, because I took a really quick bath, and I forgot. I wanted to not rinse the tub because I wanted to see how much hair I had lost, right? Because I lose so much hair. And today she's like, well, there was quite a bit in the tub. And I'm like, darn. I go in the bathroom and I'm like,
shedding.
There's not that much in there at all.
No, okay, so it's growing, right?
It's growing,
you know what? Jen used to shed like that. She doesn't either.
Yeah. And today, oddly enough,
you're right, Dawn. I really
you don't shed like you did.
Shed. Makes me sound like a dog.
It's funny though. I was doing the same thing. Like it was coming out like on everything. Like it was everywhere all the time.
Wow.
My pillow was full. It was disgusting. And now I was like, holy man, like there was maybe 10 hairs in the tub. Normally there's like, 120.
Oh my gosh, congratulations on that. Like, I feel like my skin feels better.
Oh,
My hair, my nails grow really fast. I was like, I can't believe my nails are that long already. I wouldn't, if I've never been one to get fake nails, but now I wouldn't even have to if I
yeah.
want to.
Yeah. My nails aren't doing so well lately, and I'm not sure what it is. It could be the product I had on them before, but it just, I don't know, it's weird. And maybe, who knows, maybe it's just part of the healing process that they just kind of are not doing so well. But my skin, I like almost molest myself, because it feels so nice.
Right? I know, I find myself doing that.
Show. It's a family show. Keep it.
I go up to Dawn sometimes and I'm like, feel my skin.
I did that to my mom. I'm like, walked up to her. I said, here, go cheek to cheek, right? It feels so nice. But like my legs, everything, like, because I used to have all these little bumps on my arms and on my legs, right? And it was always, you always feel them. And now I'm like, it feels like a baby's butt. Like, it is so soft.
Right.
Smooth as a baby's bottom. And then
It is, yeah.
Really cool. Oh, that picture you were talking about, September, like, do you mean like this September?
Yeah.
So wow.
Just a couple of months ago, and I definitely lost about another 13 pounds since then.
Oh, that is really cool. That is awesome. Yeah. Congratulations. Because I thought that was an old picture. Like when I initially shared it, I'm thinking it was from like 2016 or something. And then
the picture of Mom and I being really like larger, that one was in 2016. The one of us the one of us like where we're both smaller, that one I've lost 10 pounds since that picture.
Since then. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Wow.
13 pounds or whatever it was. Yeah.
That's quite a journey there. And that and so that would have been September. Yeah, because that makes a lot of sense. And when did you realize, have you always been like creative with what you're making, like the dressings, or did that kind of happen?
No, that just after I took that course through the Gift of Health, and then we were watching Derek Cement a lot, and he is like, he's got some, like I said, amazing sauces and dressings in that, and so he just inspired me. Another dressing I made, and it was I was making a sesame tofu dish or whatever, and I really liked the way the sesame stuff flavor was, and I thought that'd make an excellent salad dressing. So then I just added a little bit of vinegar and a little bit of brag to the sauce that I was making, and then I just made it into a salad dressing.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Like a sesame seed, sesame and ginger, basically, salad dressing. So.
Oh, that sounds really good.
That does sound really good.
Yeah, it was. It is.
I know. And like the hungrier, like every time she talks about any kind of food, even when you said banana, I'm like, oh, we just got bananas.
Yeah.
I meant to ask you to see if they had organic bananas at when you ordered the grapes, but I didn't know you were ordering quite yet. If you can add me on some organic bananas. If not, I'll just have to eat the regular.
Yeah, it's already done.
Oh, okay.
But we can always order them tomorrow.
There's always tomorrow.
Yes.
There's always.
And do you guys buy most things organic?
So this is something new for me, because like I would always think, oh, it's more expensive, so I'm not going to buy it organic. Like just traditionally, even when I first went raw, I didn't understand what it was. And then like the more I've been hearing about it, like even someone was like, yeah, be careful, because I always thought, well, if it has a shell at the outer edge, then there's not a lot of pesticides. But then someone was like, no, even that, it doesn't matter. Like, like I was like, bananas are okay, but, and then I'm like, oh, wait, okay. There was someone talking, I think it was Ann Osborne I was listening to, and she's like, I was surprised that even they can get into that. So what do you think about organic? Do you find it's important that we should eat organic?
I think that if we can do it as often as you can, and if you can't get it or can't afford it, that's fine. Just make sure you wash everything really well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what about like bananas? Like you can't, like if I open up the banana, does that, like, I guess there's no way. I'm not eating the peel of it, but I guess I'm just
well, when I was so I had cancer, sorry, a long time ago, and that was the one thing they told us, we had to wash all our fruits and vegetables. And they were like, you shouldn't be eating raspberries, don't eat any sprouts, there was certain things that they were like, you can't eat it because you can't get it clean enough.
I see. Okay. So that's how, like, and I never realized how important that was, because I didn't realize how many pesticides and things are used, and it was like, you know what, every time I can go get organic, but like if they don't have the organic blueberries, instead of going without them, sometimes I'll just have them replace it, like when I order it. But for the most part now, my first choice is that, because I'm realizing, you know what, if I'm already eating healthy, I might as well, especially I think I was talking with Don, and he was like, if you're eating only fruit, and only vegetables, and then you're not getting organic, you're really then increasing your intake. It's not like someone who's eating a normal diet and then just like
adding a
throwing
little
in a
bit of
couple
fruit and vegetables.
Yeah, a little bit of fruit and vegetables. I'm like, gee, I might be ingesting a lot of pesticide if I don't get organic, right?
Yeah.
Especially like grapes and stuff, you're eating the flesh of them. So I even try to get especially those.
Yeah, I with grapes too. A lot of times I wash them, and then before I pop it in my mouth, I always have like paper towel, and I wipe them off again, and then throw them in my mouth.
Right.
It's a long process sometimes.
Yes, I feel you. I'm like, sometimes you have to put I find it actually is a lot easier though. Like a lot of times when I'm just making healthy choices, there's not as much decision making. Like when I was whole food plant based, I get a lot of beans, a lot of rice, a lot of potatoes, and vegetables. And I was happy as anything when I had all that, and it was cheap. And then now with raw, it's like I don't have to worry about what I got to preheat the oven, and I got to mix this up or bake this. How long is it going to take? It's like I can just go in the kitchen after we get done here and just grab a bunch of fruit,
Exactly. And the mess is like, there's barely any mess, right? Which is, I think that's the best part of it, so. The other thing I noticed about when I went whole food plant-based at first, right? When you're doing dishes, I know this is going to sound really stupid, but when you're doing dishes and you've made a whole food plant-based lasagna, for instance, right? It's way easier to get that pan clean than it is if you make a standard American lasagna, right?
And if you ever see your pans, like when you used to cook, because like we weren't always vegan, so I remember those pans sometimes that would be sitting out, like if you just went on ahead and ate but didn't clean up right away, and that I think it was those steakum things I used to eat. It was really gross because like I would look at the pan and it would have like white, like it was basically like, I'm thinking that's what was in my arteries, like hardened, and some people reuse that stuff for cooking, and I was like, they keep it on their stove, like the grease and stuff, and I'm like,
I know
the way that we all ate, it's like scary when you look back at it, and it's like, and I know some people might be listening to this that are still eating that way, and you know what, like she was saying, don't beat yourself up, just start to make those changes. And now that it's like once I know something, I can't unknow it.
Exactly.
Once the sesame ginger recipe.
Okay. I usually wing things. So like I said to Mom the other day, I said, I'm going to have to start measuring, because I just pour stuff in. I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds like sniff things. And then I'm like, nope, I don't think that'll taste good with that. So then, sniff some others. Some other spices, and I'm like, oh yeah, that one's gonna work, right? But I don't really measure. I just kind of eyeball everything, and hopefully it tastes good, right? Usually it tastes good. It's been a few times where I'm like,
stuff.
Sorry, what was that?
I said, you guys look like you make some good stuff over there, so I definitely can imagine how it must taste. But like you're doing it to taste, so when you do end up measuring stuff for us, you'll have already gotten it right.
Yeah, yeah. My mom likes to combine things together. Sometimes not so great. Sometimes it's surprisingly good. You're like, what the heck, right?
Right. Make those combos. Yeah, that's why I'm gonna leave the dressings to you guys because I've had a bunch of duds. I'd be like, taste this, Dawn, and I could see her face. I'm like, okay, that one didn't work out.
Yeah.
Let me try again. Let me try again. So I'm just gonna, if I eat salads again, I'm gonna take your recipes and use them, so I don't have to trial and error anymore.
There you go. Yeah. No, I do like it's funny. I like my dressings. I've made some really good soups before. Even raw. What did we have? Raw soup the other day.
Can you make a curry soup?
Yes.
This was about a month or so ago, right? In November, I think I saw that, and I was like, "What is that?" It was
a pumpkin curry raw soup. Yeah, and it was good.
Oh, nice.
Very much enjoyed that one. Yeah. Yeah. Raw, and a lot of people don't realize that you can have soup. So if you're craving, something not hot, but it's warm, right? And then you can make it so that it's a little savory if you wanted it, which is, to me, it's nice because when you've been eating fruit all day or like sweeter stuff, it's nice to have something in the evening. For me anyways, I like it in the evening. So
yeah, and I think it's because well, I don't know, you guys may have a better variety there, but a lot of times I think it was I was hearing that in the tropics, or if you're in a region, there's a lot more fatty fruits that you can get. There's savory type fruits that have a higher fat content in them, like the durian that everyone tends to talk about. I don't know, I've never tried that. Some people love it, some people hate it. Because it smells weird, they say, or it's an acquired taste. But
right, that's the one that smells like feet or something like that, right?
Yeah, like cheese or something. I was like, maybe it would be good imitation cheese recipe, right? Hey Nathan, how are you? Thank you for joining.
Oh, Nathan. Oh,
Nathan.
Apparently it's my nephew.
Oh, hey Nathan. I was thinking it was a Nathan that I knew from Facebook, and I'm like, that's an interesting name that he chose there to go with his YouTube. And he's never been on, so I'm glad. Welcome, Nathan. The family's all here. I love this.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so the soup, as long as it's not above a certain degree, it's still kind of considered raw. Is it like 118 degrees or something like that?
Yeah,
something like that. I don't.
And you do it. Yeah, I just do it in a Vitamix, and I think you blend it. Do you know about how many minutes? 4 to 6.
About 4 minutes, I think.
Okay, Mom thinks about 4 minutes. So it would just get sort of warm.
Right.
I touch it, and then it's like, okay, that I can, if it feels like the same temperature as my hand, or just, I think that's usually about the right temperature. So
just not like smoothies. You don't want your soup to taste like a smoothie sometimes, right?
No,
it's cold, right? And then you guys make a lot of the nice cream. I saw the
yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. At nighttime, that's what we've been doing the last few nights, and it's been awesome. It's just enough satisfying enough that you're full, and it's you can go to bed shortly after that. Last night, Mom made an ice cream with what kind of sauce did you have on that?
There was bananas, and I just put cocoa.
Can you hear that? Bananas and cocoa.
That sounds good. What a nice little nightcap meal.
Yeah, and then she added cinnamon and nutmeg and clove to the sauce part of it, and then she put it over the nice cream, right? Which was it's all made with bananas, and it was delicious. It could have actually added. She probably could have added peanuts or some kind of nut to it, and it would have been phenomenal. It already was good.
She's gonna.
all bananas, so she didn't want to add any nuts or anything to it.
Right, that's right. Because
Yeah.
okay, so that's why I was actually glad you reminded me. Everyone tends to talk about mono diet, and I tend to like it makes sense to me. Like if we were out in the wild, we would eat one thing at a time, and I do feel better. Like my digestion does feel better when I only eat one thing at a time. Like not necessarily I have to eat the same thing all day, but I find if I eat oranges, then I try to eat those, and then a couple hours later I'll eat something else. But yet if I have like a big fruit bowl mix, I do feel like my stomach feels a little interesting afterwards. Like
Yeah.
what made you guys decide to do mono meals? Or are you just
When did we?
I just started this.
It was just recently. Like I want to say, was it when Edward or yeah, I think when Edward was talking about doing all grapes and that kind of stuff, then we were like, well, we'll try them. You know, we tried mono meals because I was like, I don't know if I can eat grapes all day. Like I
made it 2 days and that was it. I'm like, okay, no, I need something.
I like, you know, I just don't know if I can do a one. I could probably do watermelon.
I did grapes for 7 days. It was awesome.
It was.
They were here.
And did you get like lots of mucus and all that kind of stuff coming up?
No, not really. No.
Okay. Because that's one thing I hear people say.
Yeah, like the more healthy I think you go into it, like it maybe because she was already vegan.
Right.
But I think people that go into it like from standard American diet, they go through some really bad detox.
Yeah.
Stuff is sweating. I mean, they're getting like rashes and stuff because of all like I guess the dairy products and meat coming out of the skin, like the grease.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with them, but I've seen I was scared to do it, and I'm like, oh, okay, I feel okay. My skin actually improved after 2 days instead of the other way around. Like, so I'm like, okay, but you know,
I think we did. I think I did a day of just grapes.
Did you?
Yeah, I think I did one day. I might have had another piece of type of fruit or something, but yeah. And maybe I could. I think that I would have to get my mindset there though. Like, okay, this is what I'm doing. Make sure I have everything planned out enough, have it all available. And, like things like, if your kitchen is messy, it's really hard to stay on target.
Yeah.
Right. Stay focused on that. And so some days, the house is a little bit of a mess, and so it's like really hard to like stay focused, right? Those are usually the days that I end up maybe cheating because I'm like, you're just overwhelmed, right? And then you don't want to think too hard and you just want to eat and but
something easy.
Yeah, but definitely if the kitchen is clean, then it's easy to prepare food if you need to, like cut stuff up or whatever. And then I stay on track much better. Same with, when you wake up in the morning, make your bed. Your day will feel much better if your bed is made.
I feel the same way.
I never would make it. I'm like, I'm gonna sleep in it again.
We upset each other. I'm the one that always goes and makes the bed, make sure that this is what Jen's like, okay, she's probably gonna do it. So
well, like I'm always tied to the computer sometimes, so even if I have intentions, she'll rush and do it first. So I'm like, okay, well,
it's only fair though. She's always working. She does a customer service job, so she's always at the computer working. I have more free time to be able to do it, so I kick in and I do it. So we balance each other out.
Somebody's knocking on our door, Dawn.
Ah, that must be your Susie.
That wasn't part of the interview.
She came back and now she's got to go.
I was like, what? Someone else is knocking. I'm like, we never had all these visitors, but they must be just bringing stuff to the door. What a blessing tonight. I'm going to have that. Like you said, I do crave a little bit in the evening, the sushi. So, the savory. I got sushi in the brain. So that avocado roll. And I was going to say, too, I don't think we need to force ourselves to do mono diets, too, because sometimes your body might need a different nutrient after a while. I think it's good though to reset your digestion, which is why I did the grape thing. And I love what your mom's doing with each day something different, because she's still getting variety, but it's not like 7 days of
just grapes or
Yeah.
yeah.
But it depends where you are in your journey, and it is a good spiritual reset to like everything is like your body knows exactly what it's getting, so it starts really processing things. And I try to like keep it simple usually. Like when I first started learning about fruit, I wanted to buy like every fruit in the store.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, look, I'm going to have 10 blueberries and this and that. And then it gets too expensive for one. And then now it's kind of like each week we try a couple different,
Yeah.
fruits.
And not only that, when you like, we've done that too. We've gone out and bought like a crap ton of different foods and that. And then half of it goes bad because you're not getting to it fast enough and that, right? So yeah, I think it's once I do know you have to buy more than what you think you can eat because you will eat more than you think you can eat, right?
Oh,
But
definitely. I eat too much.
yeah, sometimes you just go a little too overboard with what you're buying. So, and if you can't, well, most of the stuff I guess you can freeze, so that's a good thing too.
Definitely.
If you do happen to buy too much. Mom must be commenting.
Oh, she said Jacqueline with a question mark. I was looking, I was like, did Jacqueline say something? Did I miss it?
Oh yeah, I guess my aunt's having a hard time getting on to watch it.
Yeah.
So she's also in another country, so maybe her internet's not good or something.
She just asked me, so I just sent her a little thing.
Trying to get my aunt on here too.
Thank you for bringing all these lovely people on. You guys are so supportive and encouraging on the Veganology group. I love it.
Good try to be. Did you notice that you don't need to use things like deodorant very often, and if at all?
At all, really. I'll forget and like don't even realize it. Like I don't even know in the evening sometimes.
Yes.
Like, it's like when you're
Yes, I've definitely noticed it.
Like that's one of the what do you call it? That's one of the perks that they don't tell you about becoming plant-based, right? Is that you'll
well no, it's actually because I was plant-based, like I did the whole food plant-based, and I still had some body odors.
Right.
Mind you, I still had, my breast implants, and they definitely caused me to have like a BO kind of smell, right? But yeah, no, even after I had them taken out and I went back to like a whole food, I still had that body odor. And then when I went raw or mostly raw, like there's no scent. I'm like, this is crazy.
Amazing, right? It's like our body is getting what it needs sometimes, getting those nutrients, so everything starts clicking.
Yeah.
That's why they didn't have deodorant in the wild, I guess. You never see the animals in the woods with their deodorant and bags of toiletries, right? I thought about that once too, and like, while I feel like if you're eating, at least if you're vegan, you're already doing a world of good for like, you're improved your body, you're helping animals and things. But like that next level when it's like raw food, I thought about it one day and it made a lot of sense. I was like, yeah, we're the only real species that doesn't eat their food like how it comes off of the tree, right? So it definitely makes sense if you're looking to like heal something, or like for me, I just do it because I love it. Like some people are like, you don't have to eat all raw, you shouldn't eat all raw. And I'm like, I have eat cooked food, like you said, from time to time, but it's like you feel a lot better. Like for me, it feels like, just like you said, you can't explain it. Like like before you could vegan, you couldn't imagine yourself not eating how you used to eat. Now it's like I couldn't imagine myself not eating mostly raw food.
Yeah, I know, because I was like the milk queen. Like I was like loved all my dairy stuff, right? A 4-liter jug of milk would last maybe 2 days for just me. Like I loved dairy, and so when we were first transitioning, it was difficult because I liked the taste of milk, right? And it was like trying to find a milk that can compare, right? And then you kind of just stop drinking it anyway, so because you're like, well, this one kind of tastes closest to it, but it's still not the same, right? And so I just found that I didn't drink milk like I used to. Like and I don't need it. Like, I don't mind putting it in if I want a creamy ish smoothie or whatever. I might put it in a smoothie. If I'm eating things like oatmeal and that kind of stuff, I might. I still have a bad habit of drinking coffee, but I limit it to 1 coffee a day.
I still do too. And I was like, me too. I have like less than I ever used to have. And I started drinking tea to transition. Now I just drink both. I was like, oh, that didn't work out. Now I'm sitting there with a coffee and a tea. Like, oh, I was still transitioning for like 6 months.
But I think that when we live in colder climates too, we need the tea. Like, maybe not the coffee. I probably don't need the coffee, but the tea is definitely, at least it warms you up.
Yes, it does.
I also
sometimes that nice vibe in the morning.
Yeah, I also sometimes have to bring a heating pad into bed with me because I'm so cold some nights, right? Like that's probably the only downside about going raw, is that you get so cold so easily.
Yes, I'm always putting the heat on, and Dawn's always peeking in and turning it off. Like
I'm like, oh my God, it's a baking in here. But I always have my hoodie on, so I'm not experiencing it like she is. Because I always just walk around. What explains why I'm able to always walk around in a hoodie.
Yeah. And me, I usually have sweaters, toques, like hoodie. Yeah.
Right.
And I'm still cold.
It's funny. I think it does definitely lower the body temperature. Nathan said, I don't think I could go without some dairy. Well, if you ever wanted to try, like I will say, I found when I was eating like the transitional foods, I found like Ben and Jerry's non-dairy ice cream. You have your like there's lots of different good there's cheesecake, there's like all kinds of vegan cream cheese. Like I found really good vegan like cheese slices because I used to be like really into cheese. So when I found cheese, I was like, oh, I can eat cheese again. And then I ended up eating a bunch bad, like, going on a bad trend. But it was the vegan mayo. Like still, you can, if you did want to give up dairy, like, or you had to for like,
they've got good substitutes.
Yeah, definitely. It was really, I was surprised about that because, like, when I say that to people now, I'm like, I know what you're doing. You're rolling your eyes at me like that ain't gonna taste like real stuff. But I found not all of them. There are some that taste terrible, but there are some that actually, taste good. But I find like you, it was easier just get away from it sometimes because then you're not like tempting yourself.
And you're not comparing it either, right? I think that's when you go this way, if you're comparing, you're gonna just not even try because it's not the same, right? But if you go into it and go, okay, I'm not gonna drink this because you're doing it for your health. Like I went whole food plant-based for my health to begin with, right? And then it transitions into like, well, let's save the planet, like So and then I think that because I had already made my mind up, I just let it go. And I mean, there is an oat milk that I really like, and it's from Earth's Own, and they make a really nice gluten-free oat milk. So.
I was trying to get the gum, like the last time I got almond milk to put in smoothie, I was like, it was the gum-free kind, and I didn't realize how many processed ingredients that a lot of the vegan foods also had. I'm like, even foods I thought were vegan, like cereals, and a lot of you have to like be careful with that too. Like the milk had like 20 different weird names I couldn't pronounce in it, and I'm like, okay, what happened to just almonds?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
That's that one that says naked.
Yeah, so the one that I buy sometimes is called it's from Earth's Own, and it's called Naked, and it has, I think it's 3 ingredients in it. So oats, water, and some, I don't know, it must be like a binding thing or something to keep the water in the. Oh no, because we have to shake that one because if you you don't shake it, you pour it, it comes out as like milky water.
Right. I think I've had one like that where I was like, what is this? And I probably didn't shake it, and I probably almost threw it away at first. Like, this tastes this is like water, but then it's like, oh, that's duh, I didn't shake it. Should have a big sign on it, shake well or something, right?
Yeah, I think because a lot of them they don't say it, and most people, if you drink dairy milk, a lot of people don't shake the bottle before they drink it. They just pour it, right? Because it doesn't
Right. You got to make. Have you guys ever tried making your own almond milk or oat milk?
Oh yeah, I've done it all. But we've done
actually pretty easy.
yeah, we've done oat milk before, and have we done almond milk? I don't think. Oh, maybe once. When we first got our blender, it came like with that mesh thing so that you could, squeeze your milk out of it and everything. So I think we did almond milk at that time. We tried our own, and then definitely have done oat milk before. So
wow, that sounds really
That's awesome.
good. And there was a I forget what you guys were talking to. Something you had just made too. Maybe I'm thinking of the banana with the nutmeg and stuff in it. I was like, I just saw something that you guys put together that looked really good. What are, like, let's just say today, before we get ready to wrap up, like, what can you take us through what you ate in a day in case people are like, I want to try this. How much should I eat? Like, can you tell us what
so my days vary. And I think that having varying days is okay, because there's days where I'm like, oh, it's like 7 o'clock at night and I haven't really eaten anything today, right?
Right. It's like your body knows.
So those days I'm like, we'll have just a little bit of something maybe, right? And I'm like, just mostly a fasting day, like whatever. But if we were like living years and years and years ago, you would have had days that you didn't eat so much and other days that you had lots to eat, right? So that's the way I look at it. Like there's days where, I don't eat a whole lot, and other days I wake up and first thing I do is, I'll probably have a smoothie. Actually, if I have watermelon, I always start with watermelon, because you should always eat watermelon by itself and first thing before you eat anything else, just because it goes through your body, I guess, quickly. And so they recommend eating that one first. And then I'll go to a different fruit, or I might make a fruit salad, like just cut up some bananas, apples, and oranges and grapes and, kind of mix it together. And, it just depends. And then lunchtime, what's that?
Sounds like a fresh, refreshing meal.
Yeah. And then lunchtime, same thing. Do, my fruit, I might do a salad. Like usually my salads are at nighttime. Smoothies for sure at lunchtime too. A lot of times I'll do that. And then, usually salad at nighttime is how I end my night. Or actually lately it's been banana ice cream.
What do you put in your salad?
So any kinds of like lettuce, spinach, whatever we have available, and then whatever whatever I feel like, cabbage sometimes, peppers, onions, mushrooms. What else do I put in there? Cucumbers, tomatoes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and just make a nice, like, so it almost looks like a chef salad without the ham and the cheese and the eggs.
That sounds really cool. Dawn, do you have any other questions?
Do you put onions in it?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Gotta have the onion. I was listening to you before talking about your salad when I was grabbing the stuff at the door, and I'm like, that reminds me of us when we were eating really big salads. We're eating mostly fruit now, but when we eat salads, we eat pretty big salads because you got to in order to fill up,
Yeah,
for sure. I know. I just went to a Christmas party. Sorry?
I was saying that's the cool thing. You can eat as much as you want, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly. And you don't really have to worry about gaining. You might get a bit of a tummy ache if you eat too much too fast, but usually it's not that big of a deal,
Yeah.
It's quick and everything. I know Mom likes fruit. Like she likes the fruit because she finds it much more filling than, like you guys said, than just a salad perhaps, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, my salads are pretty cute. I even went to a Christmas party, and everybody's got their plates of food, and I come in and I'm looking at everybody and I'm like, so mine's like 6 times the amount of food on my plate. And it took me, like, how long did it take me to eat? I must have been sitting there for like an hour and a half eating my lunch, right? Everybody's done, and they're like,
wow,
dessert. And I'm like,
Here comes us with our tray of food, right? Everybody else
No,
The trolley of it.
trough of
a whole table for ourselves, right?
food. Right.
We got to lay all these
Wow.
out, and we're going to eat them one at a time because we're doing mono meals, right? So
Yeah.
it'll take me an hour. Oh my goodness, that's really cool. What
Yeah.
would you say has been like your biggest, I guess, learning experience in this whole thing? Like since you've been plant-based or your spiritual journey, like is there anything you could share if you had to give people advice or a message?
My message would be kind to yourself. Give yourself grace, when you need to. Don't beat yourself up. Like, we all make mistakes. And if it was your best friend that made the mistake, are you going to sit there and call her down and tell her that she's an idiot or whatever your self-talk is? Probably not.
Right.
You probably be like, it's okay. Get up. Like, start over, whatever. Like, it's not that big of a deal. So yeah, my advice is be kind to yourself, love yourself, every part of you if you can. If you can't, find one part of you that you do love, right? So for me, it started off with my arms. I was like, because I've been kind of a big girl and I didn't have any definition at all in my arms. And then one day I was like in the mirror and I was like this, and all of a sudden I noticed that I had a little bit. I was like, woo, yes. And then after that, every time I see myself in the mirror, I was like loving that I had this definition, right? So I was loving my arms. I was like, I have awesome arms. Well, from doing that, it just transitioned into like my whole body. Just because I was focused on that, my whole body started to also align with that. And then it was like, now I can love myself. So even the things that, aren't perfect on me, it's okay. It's all good. You know what I mean?
That's excellent advice. That is excellent
really
advice.
excellent.
Yeah.
That is cool. It can work on so many things as far as not even just what you're eating.
Yeah.
Look at yourself because, I guess we have to look at ourselves. Why make it difficult, right?
Exactly. And, and for people that can't find maybe a body part that they feel is good enough, look at yourself in the face. Do you see your parent? Do you see a grandparent in there that you love? Love yourself like they love you, like you love, other people. That's how we should be loving ourselves, right? So,
like
and it
does our pets.
Difference. Right.
Wow, Jen, remember that video I made that time talking about love yourself?
Yes, that's just
It kind of went viral. Yeah, I put it on our Facebook and I think on my YouTube, and it kind of went viral. That's a really good message because too many people don't love themselves, and then they also take that out on others. So you got to love yourself right before you can even love somebody else correctly. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
and that's the other thing I noticed too was that when I get angry at someone I love, right? It's usually because it's a reflection of you that you're seeing yourself within that person, right?
Yeah.
And so, and of course, the closest people are the ones that we get angry with, right? Instead of looking at it and going, okay, what is it within myself that I'm not liking, right? Because and now that I do that and I can see what I'm doing, I'm like, oh, that's what I don't like about myself or whatever, right? And then it's like, okay, it's okay. I can accept and love myself no matter what. And then it makes it easier for the people that you're in a relationship with, because now I realize it's not them, it's me. They've done nothing wrong. They're just being who they are, right? And if that's a part of me that, I see in them that I don't like, I still love them. I just don't need to do it you know what I mean? I just need to correct it within myself. There's nothing wrong with anybody else that still does that. It just doesn't resonate with me anymore. So
that makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely.
Good message. And like sometimes figuring out what the core reason you're really upset is, like you said, that can really mean a lot, because you can lash out at first and think this is why you're really angry at them, and then you have to really dig deep. That's a good point. And you sound just like you've gotten to a really good place, like a place of calm, and happiness, which is really cool. And everything sounds like it plays a part in it, the whole journey, the health journey, the going plant-based, and now the raw. It's like it's kind of
Yeah, huge. Like it just, yeah, everything is aligning now. And it's not to say that I don't have bad days. Yeah, of course I have bad days, you know, like I have days where I get mad at somebody. I might even finger somebody, and then I'm like, stop it. Like that was really not, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like
Right.
You can catch yourself now instead of it being the norm, right?
Exactly. So, and then I forgive myself, and I forgive whoever it is that maybe is being a jerk or whatever, right? Like they're only doing what they know to do. Like, well, you know what I mean? Most of us react not because we want to react that way, but that's all we know. You know, even though we might be saying, don't react that way, right? Like, you know, so it's just, it's
programming. Like, that's the hardest thing to change is the programming.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is. And when you start changing the program, like you said, then it makes other things like eating mono meals or eating this way much easier because everything just.
You're changing your thinking from the core.
Yeah. Exactly.
A lot of stuff stems from emotions, doesn't it? Like we don't realize that's really where the mindset is. I mean, where the change is, even when it comes to diet, because a lot of it is emotional, you know?
Yeah.
That's the way that we eat and the way that we think. And, you know, it definitely makes a lot of sense. Well, thank you. Nikita said, thank you for these wise words, everyone. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll have to share that.
It took me a long time to get here. No, I really did not like myself for many years. So, I mean, it didn't help. I had a grade 4 teacher that used to call me dumb and stupid. So like, that's what I believed about myself until I was 50, and I'm 51 now. So just over a year ago, I believed that I was dumb and stupid. And then finally I was like, you're not. That was their opinion. That's their opinion. That's not who you are.
Absolutely. You can't see yourself through somebody else's eyes anymore. I'm so happy for you, proud of you, glad for you, and bask in it, girlfriend, because you're beautiful.
Well, thank you.
And I'm going to work on getting my arms in shape like yours.
Yeah.
On my, I'm going to get that definition. What did they say? Wait a minute. What was that joke? It was something like, you look like a dictionary. You have so much definition. I had to tell one bad joke per live stream. That's all
I love it.
Thank you for coming on and like sharing that with us, because there's a lot of people who would come on and have just talked about all this happy stuff and the spiritual stuff that they are experiencing, but not, you know, mention that part. And there's a lot of people probably watching that are really hating themselves. And I think we all do it to a certain extent. Like there's things I don't like, and we all can really take that as a message and like be kind to ourselves. And we can all go into the night being able to like know that, hey, we're all being nice to ourselves.
We're okay.
Right?
Yeah. And that's the other thing. Go to bed with gratitude, right? Find say a bunch of things that you're like totally grateful at nighttime. And when you first wake up, don't think about all the shit that you got to do for the day. Go to gratitude right away. Start your day with that, and it'll be a much better day for the rest of the day will be great.
Yeah, you know? And it helps if you go to bed that way, because it helps you wake up that way. So that's an awesome point.
Yeah. And the other thing is, if something bad does happen, you have the tools now to deal with it in a much calmer, more relaxed state of mind or whatever. Like my dad was in a really bad car accident, and it was really stressful, but I managed to like stay in my positive sort of state, you know, not that I wasn't stressed out, I was, but I didn't let the stress take over the mind, I guess is what it is. Right. And when I was feeling a little like down or whatever, I'd go meditate. I would do things that I knew were good for my soul and that would benefit me in the end, rather than focusing on the shitty stuff that's happening. Right. So,
yeah, absolutely.
I think that's really important, right? Like, to know that whatever comes your way, you're going to be okay with, because that's one of the things I have to really focus on with like the thoughts, you know, that you can take the thoughts and run away with them. And it's like, you almost become scared of, you know, everything, you know, and how this is going to make you react. And then once you you know, it sounds like if you're using that meditation and stuff, whatever happened in your life, you're going to be able to change that day around, or that moment to, you
Yeah.
know, to being okay.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah.
Where stuff like that might have taken you, like if you were still in the, you know, in your old way of thinking, might have taken you down a bad, you know.
It would have,
Yeah.
it definitely would have put me, yeah, I would not be where I am right now. So yeah, totally grateful that I have those tools in my in my
Yeah.
pocket.
Yes. Well,
Yeah, I love Eckhart Tolle. He teaches you the power of now. I don't know if you've ever heard of that book, but that is a
yeah,
phenomenal.
I haven't read it, but I do own it, I believe.
Oh
so.
man. Yeah, I mean, you can also listen to it on YouTube too. So you can
Right.
have it on in the background. It is phenomenal. He teaches you the power of acceptance and what is, you know, it's
Yeah.
really what we give too much power to our thoughts sometimes because we
Yes.
create out of that. And
Yeah.
you know, if you think something's bad, well, someone else may not think that thing is bad. So really,
Yeah.
perception is reality.
Yeah.
Nothing is good or bad. It just is what it is.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
acceptance is key. If you learn how to accept what's in that moment, and to your point, be grateful for it, be grateful you're here, everything, then life becomes much easier to live. And you know what? A lot of it's based on the food we're eating. A
Yeah.
lot of it really is. When we've got living food in us, we're not thinking morbid thoughts with dead flesh
Right?
running through our
Yeah.
veins.
And the people that are still eating animals and dairy and all that kind of stuff, like you think about all the torture that those animals have to go through, right?
Yeah.
And then them being, you know, they're knowing that they're going to be dying and all that kind of stuff, and now you're eating all that stress and whatever other emotions were going through that animal's, you know, body and stuff, because it's not just in the mind. Like for us, you know, we think with our head, heart, and our, you know, soul. So soul or whatever, right? Like those are our three brains that we have. So I'm sure animals have the same thing. And then if you're killing an animal and it was tense and all that kind of stuff, you're eating that now, you're ingesting that, right? So yeah, I think that just eating, like you said, our live foods that we eat, it's a total different vibration that you're giving off.
Yeah.
And you feel way better.
And it really Jacqueline says she loves your energy and where you're at now. Yes, we're all so proud of you. I know we just met you not that long ago, but we can already see, like, you know, you just have a different, like, an aura about you where you can see where, you know, like when you mentioned where you came from, but you can talk about it now like you're a different person, which is, you know, that was who I was, right? And now this is who I am. That's really cool.
And the other thing too, I was going to say, is that the way that we think and the way that we talk and all that kind of stuff. So if you're thinking, oh, I can't, oh, that's exactly what you're going to get. Right. So, you know, I can't change my diet. Well, yeah, you're right. You can't, because you're not willing to change your diet, because you have a belief that that's the way it has to be. And until you start changing that belief, right, you're always going to believe that. You know, it's like saying, oh, you know, life is hell. When you're going to create, that's exactly what you're getting. Life is hell. I choose to say I live in, you know,
it's the secret. It's the secret.
Exactly.
Perception is reality, right? Like whatever you're. Yeah, like I was thinking, some people, somebody said once, this all kind of lines with that, where 90% of the things I've ever worried about have never happened, you know, or that I'm thinking about aren't happening right now, right? So they're like stuff I'm thinking about that happened 2 days ago, or should I have ate this or done this, right? And then like, or I wonder what's going to happen in the holidays, right? Like it's like always our mind is either behind or ahead.
It creates the soap opera that we live in. You know,
living in the moment sometimes, and just stopping.
You can change it. You can change that soap opera and make it into what you actually want to experience. You know.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll just sit here and being like, I'll see like the cats, like they're laying on the bed, and I'm like working, and even though it's like, maybe it's not the best thing, like, oh, I'm working, but like all of a sudden I'll just, you know, have a really good moment. I'll hear Dawn like in the other room doing her thing, or her live stream, or her stock trading or whatever. And all of a sudden I'm like, you know what, this is a really cool moment, you know? And I think when we get into the moment, be thankful for it. That really helps a lot, because you're not always living in other, even little small moments. Like, it doesn't, oh yeah, obviously if we just won the lottery, that'd be a great moment, but you can have really great moments too, like, don't mean that in a rude way, just wondering, do you guys do you guys still think ethically obtained animal products still affect people negatively? I mean, I think health wise, it doesn't really matter. As far as emotional wise, I think there's still, we're living, like, for me, I'd started out, like you said, plant based. So, like, over time, I've evolved into someone who does this for ethical animal reasons, because I didn't even realize it at first. So, for me, I do. I don't know what you think, Michelle.
Yeah, I think that I don't think there's an ethical way to get rid of, like, to kill an animal. Like, you're taking a life. You know what I mean? There's nothing ethical about it, right? So yeah. So, but that's just my opinion, and I think that there's a movie that's going to be coming out pretty soon. I think that will explain a lot. So, that Christspiracy.
Oh,
yeah. Like, I'm pumped. I can't wait to see it, to be honest.
I heard about that. We'll have to watch that one.
Well, they did the What the Health, Seaspiracy and Cowspiracy movies, right? And so Christspiracy is the new one. And I think that it's going to be quite an eye-opener. They say for people who are Christian in that, please come in with an open heart and an open mind. So, because there's going to be some things that are going to change your views, probably about killing animals. So
it works. I'll take as many people as that can make that happen, because I think you're right. I think when animals are bred for that purpose too, it's like you're creating a life just to kind of torture and kill them for food, where we don't, there's just so many things surrounding it that I've learned over the years, like, and this is, like you said, our opinion or beliefs. And I didn't always believe this way. I didn't always understand the connection between what's the difference between a dog and a cow, and I just knew one was to love and one was to eat, and it's like, you realize all of a sudden when you have this epiphany, and a lot of people won't get there right away, because a lot of people, you have to, like, mine evolved. I didn't realize I was still plant-based, I would say, until like 6-7 months in being on the vegan groups, and all of a sudden something clicked, and I was like, wow, yeah. Well, I can't, that there is no difference between these animals. Why are we breeding them and causing all these issues when we can have that taste just as good, like.
I actually at work the other day, and I'm pretty sure that the person was saying it to tease me, but they're like, well, look at all, let me say that, look at all the grains and stuff that you guys eat, you're like growing and everything. I'm like, me? I'm like, you, first of all, I said, you water your plants to feed the cows. You have to water the cows, right? Like, who's using more water and more plants? Like, you know what I mean? We could feed the entire world if we didn't have to feed all these animals for you guys to get your protein that you get from the plant to begin with, because that's how the animal got it. So.
Right. That's funny. That's so true. Like, I think it's funny how everybody can say that everybody's, that if you don't feel good about your decision, you're going to try to put down the other person's, like, oh, I want to continue to eat this way, so I'm going to tell you that, eating, and then you could even say, well, I don't even eat grain, right? Haha, I'm eating raw, so you can't make fun of me. Nathan, that's a good question. He said, what about hunted animals? They would naturally be killed and they lived a full life in their natural environment. But I feel like if they like died naturally, to me, they wouldn't have been, and my stepfather's hunt, so I'm not, in any way making anybody ethically, whether it's right or wrong. But for me, I think it's just, it wouldn't be like them naturally dying because I mean, at that moment, you're still killing them, I guess, for food. But, it just seems like, to me, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, like if you had to eat meat, like, to me, well, if you want to eat meat, then people should have to go kill their own stuff, right? Because most people would not eat meat if they had to go and do it themselves, right? So
I guess
there's that, right? But yeah, I don't, yeah, I just, yeah, maybe that's what people need to do. We just need to stop these big farms and stuff of killing animals, and people just go make their, do their own. And whether you would stay doing it, probably, I mean, some people will, because that's what they do. They're hunters, right? But the other thing I was going to say is hunting meat, even your bullets that you use to shoot it, like if they have lead in it, you can get lead poisoning from using the bullets in the animal. So, that was something that we learned, my mom and I learned a few years ago. So,
and I learned that we don't really we were brought up thinking we need meat. So like if I wouldn't kill a domesticated animal and eat it, then I'm probably not going to go out in the wild. I wouldn't. There's no nutrients in it that I need, that I realized. So
exactly.
like we were told. So that's why I think that, that's just, like you said, just our belief, but it definitely is a good questions to bring up. So thank you.
Yeah. And like I said, like, I would rather somebody go out and actually do it. Like, I mean, I'd rather people don't do it at all, but if there was, I'm not going to say it's ethical, because like I said, there's no ethical way, but to me, I would, how am I going to say this without being mean? I would rather a family, I guess, go out and get their meat for the season rather than going to a store and buying different meats every day, I guess. So,
because people don't see what really goes on and what's being pumped into them, and all of that good stuff.
Exactly.
Well, I think I have kept you long enough, and I know we're all probably getting.
You're starving.
We'll have to make this a natural occurrence here, because we could go on and on forever. Now we've gotten into the animal rights activism part. We didn't even we started with food and got all the way to this. I love it, but thank you.
Yeah. My nephew that's asking all the questions there.
I think when you hear about people being vegan, it's definitely things that I think it's good that he's asking that, because it means that he's questioning, and actually thinking about it. So like, who knows? He may not go vegan, but we're gonna get, like, in maybe 20 years, he's gonna be like, I was thinking about what you said.
I would just be happy if he ate a lot more fruits and vegetables.
There we go. We'll take that. Yes, fruits and vegetables. He said he'll be back in a little bit. So if we're gone, we didn't leave because you were asking those questions. We're big girls over here. We can handle the tough ones, right?
Yeah.
But thank you for joining, Nathan. I appreciate it, and thank you to everyone that was here. Dawn, thank you. I know you're off probably collecting the food or something there. She'll pop back in. Muriel, thank you. I'm so glad I met you, and then I got to meet Michelle through you. And you haven't gotten off of this. You're still going to get on here one day, but that's okay. We'll let you go this time, right? And Mariquita, Solis, thank you. Annette, I know you were here. Tessa, thank you for joining. Who else was here? I remember somebody at the very beginning. Oh, and Jacqueline, thank you. Aunt Jacqueline, right?
Yes.
All right. Thank you guys so much. Diana, plant-based. I forgot to say hi to you. And
it was awesome meeting you, Michelle, and your family. Thank you for supporting.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me. And hopefully we can do this again, because this was fun. A lot funner than I thought. Yeah, I'm still a little red, but that's okay.
Oh, you did awesome. I could tell you were warming up there, and you really when you started giving your words of wisdom, I'm like, I know that's the inspiration you wanted to give everyone too, So thank you. You're going to help a lot of people by coming on here with your journey. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, and when you've been through it, right? And nothing was working, and then all of a sudden it just clicked. I was like, that's what I need to do. That's what people need to understand, right? So yeah.
Good job.
Thank you for sharing that. And Dawn, I'm glad you're back so we can say bye to you too, because you were you had your
MIA.
Awesome.
Thank you everyone for joining. And I wanted to say one more thing. I don't remember what it was. Well, thank you for sharing your amazing transformation with us. Anything else you want to say in closing?
No, I think that was good. Just like you said, love yourself, and eat your fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds if you want them. I'm a nut and seed kind of girl, so they're gonna stay in my diet probably.
There we go, right?
Definitely.
All right.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Thank you for joining, everyone. Check out, also, we have anyone here that has their YouTube channel. Check out their channels and join the Vegan Knowledge group. You can get all those. Look, I'm going to use you. You can get her exclusive dressing recipes on there, maybe. We'll see if that has an appearance. But thank you, Michelle. You guys have a great evening.
You too.
Love
Thank
everybody.
you very much. Take
Bye,
care.
guys.
See ya.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
See ya.